Good evening and welcome to the Pits Analysis Show from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my partner in crime, Austin Williams from Sports Talk with Austin, as we bring you our take on Week 10 of the 2024 college football season. Let me tell you something, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. How you doing today, man?
Oh, pretty good, Jackson. I know we're in a crazy time in the world, but I'm glad we could bring some peace and unity back to it. And what better way to do that than to talk about some college football? I mean, we had the first rankings come out Tuesday night. Nothing else big happened that night. That was the only thing massive. That's what everyone's talking about on Wednesday morning. Whether Ohio State or Oregon should be ranked number one. Me personally, I think Alabama should be number one. They're always number one. Alabama can lose 6 games. They're always number one. But in all seriousness, though,
But yeah, the
though it's going
CFP
to be
rankings, they've been pretty fun. And for those that missed it, well, we'll show it to you tonight. So we got the Oregon
mhm.
Ducks at number 1, and Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, Texas round out the rest of the top 5. And we have Penn State, Tennessee, Indiana, BYU, Notre Dame in the top 10, rounding it out. Now, there have been
Mhm.
some people squawking about Indiana being below Penn State. Now, me personally, I kind of think that Indiana should be above Penn State, and I'll go even further. They should be above Tennessee as well. I think
Mhm.
BYU should be above Tennessee, and like a guy that I had on from Power Hour LSU, Power Hour SEC, and Power Hour NFL, Carter Bryant. I know spoiler alert, I talked with him a little bit earlier today, and he's like, Notre Dame should not be in the top 10 because that loss to Northern Illinois. Now, what do you think about the top 10, Austin? Anything you
So
like
I want to
about
put a
them?
I want to put a disclaimer on this. The thing about this is the first ranking, so I'm not going to freak out. I
Okay.
know a lot of people, because I know a lot of sports fans, and they have every right to. But this is the first ranking, Jackson. This is just getting a feel for where the committee thinks everyone would sit if the season ended tonight or ended yesterday. And overall, I don't think it's that bad. I feel like they value eye tests more than they do. They value eye tests more than anything. Like Alabama, right? They're sitting there at number 11, and many people are saying so Alabama would be in the playoffs with 2 losses. Well, here's the thing. I'm sure we'll talk about it when we get to LSU Bama later on. But Alabama has got a great win over Georgia, and their 2 losses are now not looking that bad. I mean,
Mhm.
Tennessee is looking great. If Tennessee keeps winning, that only props Bama up. And Vandy's ranked in the AP poll, so the AP is telling us Vandy's not that bad. This isn't the Vandy of old where it's like, haha, you lost to Vandy. You're the laughing stock of the SEC. And Rough Rider Returns is here, and he says the top 8 are Big Ten or SEC teams. Yep. And we figured that, right, Jackson?
Mhm.
That would probably be the case. Like, it's basically the Big Ten SEC Invitational, is what it is.
True. And for
Overall,
11 and 12, Alabama, Boise State rounded out. And I'm looking at SMU, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like BYU SMU has been the most underrated game in all of college football for 2024. Nobody watching that game on September 6th, or nobody on September 6th was thinking about how BYU SMU could be that game with an impact. Everybody was thinking more like Michigan USC is that game with an impact. But turns out, vision could be 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, Jackson, that's going to be one of them games. It could decide who goes to the playoffs as well. Because if BYU wins the Big 12, SMU would have a very strong case as a possible one-loss non-conference champion to get in. Possibly.
Please tell me Pitt can go 11-1. I'm just kidding.
Probably not.
I honestly want to see Penn State Pittsburgh finish the regular season at 11-1 for one reason: a possibility at a Penn State Pittsburgh playoff game.
True.
Yeah.
And I got to say this, Jackson, your dream of having two Big 12 teams died last weekend when Iowa State blew it to Texas Tech. And the committee's even telling you that.
Yep. Of course they are. They have to remind us. Like, of course they do. They don't like the Big 12. They like Colorado, I see, because they got them at 20. They really like them.
Look at them giving Wazoo some respect, Jackson. Putting some respect on the Pac-2. That's a statement right there in itself.
Oh, yeah. I see somebody is ahead of Clemson. Who could that be?
Jackson, and you want to know something even better? Look at all the losses. We're the only 3-loss team in there. What's that say about us? Think about that, Jackson. We're a 3-loss team, and the committee put us in the initial rankings. What is the committee telling you about us?
I think they're telling us a lot, that they saw Louisville play Clemson on Saturday night and saw, you know what? Louisville can definitely make some magic in college football.
And Jackson, I think it shows that they respect us just a little bit. And the fact is, Jackson, 3 of our losses, Jackson, 2 of them are top 10 losses, all by a touchdown. And one of them to SMU is a top 15 loss. Like, Jackson, who else could? Because if it was any other resume with 3 losses, that wouldn't be happening. Normally, if you're a 3-loss team, you wouldn't even sniff the first initial ranking. But it goes to show, if even in losses, you could still make an impact on the committee.
What if Louisville wins out the rest of the regular season and we see Miami and SMU play each other for the ACC title game? Think about that.
I mean, it wouldn't do us any favors. I mean, other than if we probably went out, we'd probably get one of the better bowl games. Because as it sits right now, Jackson, we would need some Oklahoma State type magic to have a chance. Because there is a world where if SMU or Miami loses out, Clemson loses one more, and we beat Pitt, we would go to the title game. But unfortunately, good buddy, as your famous saying is, never put yourself in a situation where you need someone to win or you need someone to lose for you.
Nope, you can't do that.
And Jackson, go ahead. Go ahead, good buddy. Go ahead.
I saw where somebody that the committee realized was overrated, which I think they saw my top 10 from the summer for who is the most overrated teams going into the season at 24. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Jackson. One Army at 25, undefeated 8-0. I know a lot of people had qualms with that, saying that was such disrespect to the Air Force Academy. They're saying it, and people are saying if they're going to treat Indiana with that same respect, we need to do it for Army too. Wow. What do you think about that, Jackson? Do you think Army got disrespected?
Oh yeah. I mean, I get it. The schedule is pitiful. It's not really
Yeah,
anything to boast home about. But I do feel like Army needs to really make magic happen. They need to just dominate their opponents, like really dominate them. They really need to pull off that upset against Notre Dame at Yankee Stadium the week before rivalry week on NBC. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a game to watch out for right there.
I'd better say Jackson. They're another team, which we'll hear it as the weeks go on. But Army controls their own destiny. You beat Notre Dame and win your conference. Who says the committee's going to leave you out?
Uh-huh.
I think it would be a dog. I think it would be a dog fight for who would get that last spot, Boise or Army. It'd be a good argument.
True. That's true.
But you know what, Jackson? You know what's going to be an even better argument is when you pick Cal because they have hype on Friday night.
Cal Wake Forest. I mean, I can't believe that's a conference game. But ACC After Dark on ACC Network.
Oh gosh, Jackson, we have to stay up on Friday night to watch this.
Ugh,
Oh gosh,
it's pitiful. It's pitiful.
well, Jackson, I'll let you pick first. Who are you going to take in the battle of the pitifuls here?
I think I'm gonna go Wake Forest in this battle. I think they can get it done at home in a 24-21 victory over the road favorites.
I tell you what, Jackson, I'll go Jay Knott and Cal. I'll go 26-23. Here's a better game. Fox is doing us a little bit better.
It's something. I mean, anything's better than nothing, really. I mean, we got to get that appetizer before we get the full course meal.
Yes. Iowa, UCLA, and Jackson. I know there's a certain team that gets you ticked off. And no, we're not talking about you this time, Florida State. But
Nebraska.
A certain team, I was going to say, if you hadn't checked out CFP After Dark, you should check it out. It's one of the best Sunday shows going. You can have Sunday Night Football on, and you could be watching CFP After Dark. Double dip. No, we won't tell. I mean, the TV police ain't going to tell. I mean, they ain't coming to get you if you decide to watch both. But a certain somebody on this panel decided that he was upset that UCLA has all of a sudden decided to start playing football again.
Because it's
Do you care to explain yourself?
I wasn't
Blame yourself, Jeff.
I was not so much about UCLA, but more mad at Nebraska because it's like you shouldn't be losing to teams like UCLA. Like their athletic department is a fate worse than hell. They handled the Chip Kelly situation terribly, and they put a guy who didn't necessarily ask to be a part of the conversation. He didn't even think about being head coach, but was like, hey, you know what? I'll take it. Like, it's like it was just so they put Deshaun Foster in an impossible situation.
Yeah. But Jackson, let me ask you this. Can UCLA still make a bowl game? Are they going to make a late push for it?
It's a possibility. Because after all, I'm looking at the rest of their schedule. I mean, they got, after Iowa, they got to go to Washington. They got USC the week before rivalry week. And they got Fresno State on rivalry week. So
it's a possibility.
So I mean,
if they win this game,
I may go from like a swearing rant on UCLA beating Nebraska because of how bad it makes Nebraska look to like, wow, UCLA has made a huge turnaround. I was wrong to really cuss you out.
And here's the thing, too, Jackson. If UCLA makes a bowl out of this schedule, Deshaun Foster should win Coach of the Year in the Big Ten. Seriously, I mean that. I mean that with all sincerity, because what other coach could you put with that schedule and they would make it out with a 6-6 record? A first-year head coach like that with a depleted team, and like you said, with an athletic department that really doesn't back football like they do basketball. That would be some impressive stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I gotta say, before we make our pick, how do you think Iowa's going to handle the travel cross country? Do you think it's going to affect them at all?
Well, we'll wait and see. Because, I mean, anything can happen.
Since you went first on the last one, Jackson, I'll go first this time. You know what, Jackson? Give me UCLA for the upset on a Friday night. Give me UCLA 24-20. Give me UCLA 24-20 in an upset.
I've got Iowa winning 42-24 on this one.
Yeah, we split.
Because, like, for once, I still can't believe Iowa's scoring 40 points, but they are.
Well, Jackson, is there any other good appetizing games on Friday, or are we ready for the main course?
We'll get to the main course in a little bit, but we got more appetizers. Big noon kickoff.
So
although this game should really be on Nickelodeon.
Purdue at Ohio. Oh, yikes.
Yeah, I mean, just have SpongeBob Patrick call the game and call it a day.
Jackson, why isn't this on Peacock? Why are they making poor Fox viewers watch this at the noontime window? Why are they making them suffer?
I think, well, because honestly, I don't think they really thought this schedule through. I think they thought that it was going to be Indiana being pitiful as always, and they didn't really think the whole schedule through.
I see. Well, it shows big time. There's not much to say, Jackson, on this. I'll be honest with you. I know it, like, Purdue's just so bad. Like, in years past, Jackson, I would have told you this could be where the Spoilermakers strike, because they're coming off an emotional victory over Penn State. But Purdue's just so awful. At this point, Jackson, we're basically picking, is Purdue going to cover the spread?
No. I think Ohio State is going to win 38-10.
I'll go 45-6 Ohio State. I think it'll get ugly. Oh, here's a game that could. Okay, ESPN, thank you for saving us. Go for it, Jackson. I'll let you start it off.
That's going to be a good one, because, Miami has to be chapping their butts. Like that game last year against Georgia Tech, the way it ended, that still has to be chapping them. Luckily, they really had this game on their calendar, I'm sure. And every week it's been the same thing. Close win after close win after close win. They just pull it off somehow.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jackson, an interesting note for this game. Haynes King, is he going to be back for this game? Or do we have any word yet? Because that could decide which way I go.
Well, as of right now, Brent Key says he's hopeful that King is good to go on Saturday, but says he is still day to day.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good. Okay. Here's the thing, Jackson. I agree with you. I think Miami's had this game circled since last year. I really think they've had this game circled. They've looked at it and said, you know what? Now we've got Cam Ward. We've got a competent offense again. Estrepo and company. But Georgia Tech, Jackson, is not a team to be taken lightly. We know this because of the magic Brent Key has pulled off with the Yellow Jackets. And you were somebody, Jackson, who was very high on Brent Key. You sung his praises in the offseason.
Yes, I did.
Jackson, I believe you had a top 10 coaching list that came out on the Voice of College Football Twitter. I believe you had Brent Key on there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I remember my top 10s. I don't think that's on it. I don't have like a top 10 coaching list, but I can check and see because I know I've got like top 10 disappointing teams, top 10 surprise teams, top 10 potential disappointments, all that.
Okay, so you didn't do the coaches this time. Okay.
No, I'm afraid
But
not.
you have talked really good about Brent Key. And you even told me after the Florida State game, you said he's going to bring some magic to Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
But does the magic run out Saturday? Or does Miami continue on?
Well, so far he's been gaining. It looks like he's going to get him to bowl eligibility because I mean they'll probably finish sits and sits again, but at the same time, I think he can get some magic going in Atlanta.
Yeah. So here's my thing, Jackson. If Haynes Kings plays, I think this game could be really, really close. And Doc P says, I think Cam the Canes roll. Well, you would think that, but look how many games they've come. I mean, they've had a lot of close calls this year, and a lot of critics believe if Cam Ward was not a part of this roster, they would be like 5-4 right now. They wouldn't even be sniffing the conversation of the ACC title. A lot of people believe this is Cam Ward hiding their deficiencies.
I can see that.
I mean, our good buddy Jeffries even said that. Jackson, I believe you've even told me that a couple times. You believe Cam Ward's bailed him out of some sticky situations because he's just that good.
I mean,
but
he certainly bailed him out against Virginia Tech and Cal and Louisville.
Yeah. And Jackson, I think that's going to be the exact same thing Saturday. If Haynes King plays, which I'm going to go off that he is, I think Miami plays yet another close one. I'm going to go Miami 41-34.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, good buddy? Who do you got winning?
I've got Miami winning 35-24 against Georgia Tech. And if Miami wins this game, they're basically one game away. Well, two more games away from clinching the playoff berth.
They win this game, I think they clinch one of the spots in the title games, I think. Right?
Well, we'll still kind of wait and see. We'll see who's in and who's out.
I think, Miami wins. I think that eliminates us because then we would need SMU to lose out, which I don't see that happening. But Clemson it could get a little dicey, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you need Clemson to lose once more, and you need Boston College, Virginia, and Cal to bail you out against SMU. But like you said, that's not going to happen.
And Jackson, it comes back to your old it comes back to your old saying, good buddy. Never put yourself in that position where you need someone to lose for you.
Yep. That's just those are things you don't do in life. But we got a good one. Well, we would say it's a good one in 2008, but this this looks like a game you may not want to watch if you're Florida, because this is a disaster zone for the Gators.
Yeah. Is DJ Wagley going to play? Have they announced that yet?
Well, he's questionable.
Okay. So if DJ Wagley plays, I think they will play hard because Billy is still trying to play his job. And here's the thing, Jackson. They've been playing a lot of really good teams tough this year. Have you noticed that? Like, other than that Miami game, they took Georgia down to the wire. They beat Kentucky. And I know Kentucky's not really the prize of the pick, I mean, Kentucky is a dung heap this year.
Ooh.
But they've taken some good teams down to the wire this year. I mean, Tennessee, it took a miracle for them in overtime to escape. I mean, Florida's playing hard, but if DJ Wagley don't play, this could get ugly quick.
Oh yeah.
And Texas, they control their own destiny in the SEC title race, so they don't want any more slip ups. Go ahead, good buddy.
Yep, and Texas is definitely one team we've been debating over.
Yes.
Especially once last year, once earlier this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jackson, I don't think there's no debate here. I'm going Texas 38-17. I think the Gators will keep it interesting for a quarter, and then Quentin Ewers and Arch Manning are going to put the whooping on them.
I've got Texas winning this one 35-13.
Yikes. Oh, we got a good one on NBC. Minnesota and Rutgers.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, is Rutgers ever going to win another game this year? What happened to them? That's all you got? You're just like, I don't know, Austin. Like, I mean, Jackson, could this be a trap game for PJ Fleck? Answer me that. Is this a trap? Is this the game that PJ Fleck could lose because he's got momentum?
It's a possibility.
Now, Jackson, explain to me this. You're good with the scheduling. Why is this on noon on NBC? Is it because Notre Dame got the night slate this week?
Yeah. Florida State, Notre Dame went on NBC at night, which, hell, at this point, that game should have been the Peacock game.
Oh, gosh. See, Jackson, this is why they shouldn't schedule those things too far out ahead. Because who's going to want to watch that game? Like, NBC is going to be like, oh, crap, why did we schedule this game? NBC is going to be seriously regretting putting the ACC on NBC. Thanks, Florida State, you dung heaps. Then we're going to get demoted to the Peacock is what's going to happen. I'm sorry, wrong game. We'll get to that later. It kicks me off.
But yeah, Minnesota's been on a huge winning streak this season. It's like that, we talked a little bit about it last week, but it's felt like that the game against Michigan, especially in the fourth quarter of that game, you had 2024 vice presidential candidate Tim Walz at that game. You had like a few other famous people there. Minnesota's like, crap, we better not mess this one up. and close, but no cigar. They lost in the big house, but fortunately, that was just the momentum they needed because they needed it.
Yes.
They got it going against the USC Trojans, which that's right. We don't have USC this week. I mean, I got nothing nice to say about USC this year.
If we got any USC fans out in the chat, I'm sorry, but Jackson's going to speak his mind about you all. So if you don't
Well,
like it, cover your ears.
nah. I'm mean, but I'm not that mean.
But yeah, to this game though, I will say, Rutgers, they were 4-0 at one point, and we thought, okay, Rutgers might be a dark horse. They're a nice little story. I mean, maybe Greg Schiano's got them going to contend for the Big Ten. Maybe a dark horse contender. And then, of course, all the injuries and then the incompetent play calling, relying on Singleton. And Jackson, you know a lot about that, especially because you're a Titans fan. And Jackson, you all relied on Derrick Henry a lot. And eventually he was just like, I've had enough. Do you think Kyle Singleton might be like, I've had enough of you, Rutgers. I'm going somewhere where they won't kill me with all these carries?
Oh, yeah. He's probably just going, oh, yeah, I'll stay at Rutgers, but the price goes up.
Yeah. So, you know what, Jackson? I'll let you pick this one first, good buddy. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with not Rutgers, but Minnesota. The momentum continues on for the Golden Gophers as they win 31-20.
I'll go Minnesota in a slugfest 21-20. Ooh, we got a good one in Chestnut Hill. Syracuse at Boston College on the CW. Oh, gosh. The dreaded CW. All right, who's the favorite? Boston College by 2.
That's so weird. Well, I mean, it's better than watching a rerun of the Gilmore Girls.
Ah, yes. Now, Thomas Castellano, I know he's been dealing with injuries as of late, but I know there's been talks that he's been progressing and getting a little bit healthier, according to Bill O'Brien. Jackson, is there a chance that Boston College could still make bowl eligibility, or is that looking like that might not be a possibility in year one for Bill O'Brien?
Well, let's look at the schedule, shall we?
They got Syracuse this week, SMU next week,
North Carolina and Pitt coming to the backyard the next 2 weeks after.
Ooh, yeah. If they want to be bowl eligible, they're going to need to win this game. They're going to need to win it.
North Carolina.
Question is though, Jackson. Oh, go ahead.
North Carolina, they're just trash. I mean, sorry.
If BC wins this game, if they can win the Carolina game, they'll get their 6. And Rough Rider turns Syracuse bats me every season. Agreed. Join the party on me.
They baffle.
Yes, especially if they play Clemson, because then they're going to be like, oh, they're 6-0 Syracuse. If you can upset Clemson, there's nobody standing in your way, and then they lose and lose and lose every single time. But for this game, once again, good buddy, I'll let you take the floor first. Who you got?
Well, I think Syracuse is going to win 27-24 against Boston College. And you know what's funny about Boston College is they were the darlings after week 1 with that upset over Florida State on Labor Day. But
yes,
they haven't really been doing much of anything since. Oh, that agreed. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a fun one on rivalry week. Are we gonna see
Yes.
Miami bail it out? Like if Miami's unbeaten going into that game and then they beat Syracuse, they're in the playoffs regardless of the ACC title game.
We'll have to see, Jackson. Let's not put the cart before the horse. But
Well, with
I'll go.
Miami, I believe if Miami is unbeaten going into the ACC title game, they're in. I think that's how it is with like the Miami, Clemson, and Florida States of the world. They're in if they're unbeaten. But like an SMU, a Pitt, a Duke, or a Wake Forest, they got to win the ACC, no matter if they're unbeaten or not.
But as for this game, though, I'll go Syracuse too. I think they'll ride the momentum of their overtime win.
Mhm.
I'll go Syracuse in a 28-25 victory over Boston College.
This is gonna be interesting to see what happens with Neil Brown. Does he keep his job? Is he gonna get removed? What is gonna happen here?
So, Jackson, there's been murmurings among West Virginia fans and, of course, us as fanatics. People have said if Neil Brown doesn't win out and win his bowl game, he's done. But other people said if he goes 7-5 and wins his bowl game, he'll be safe. What side are you leaning on, Jackson? Win out, win the bowl game, or go 7-5 and win the bowl game to save his job? What are you
Yeah,
thinking?
he's got to win out. I mean, he's just gonna have to. And
So
I don't,
they'd
I
have to
don't
go
even think
eight
it's
and
gonna
four.
matter if they win out because West Virginia fans are squawking about Neil Brown. They are just squawking. I mean, as well as they should be, because I mean, you don't have Texas, Oklahoma anymore. It should be a little bit easier to get to the Big 12 title now. Like they've never been there once since they joined that conference.
Yeah. And I will say this though, Jackson. What about Cincinnati? What a nice story they have been this year after the disaster they had last year. Scott Satterfield with Brendan Sorsby. The Bearcats are looking nice. I mean, that obviously Cincinnati is going to go bowling. That's obvious.
Oh yeah.
But Jackson, could they spoil someone's season in the Big 12?
You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Cincinnati to win this one.
Great minds think alike. But I went with Cincinnati because it's at home, and Cincinnati has won at home a lot, dating back even to the Luke Fickell era. But what's your score, good buddy?
I think Cincinnati is gonna win this one in a 35-28 victory. I'll be honest with you. Cincinnati's going to expect a lot more than reaching a bowl game with Scott Satterfield. I still don't think Scott Satterfield can get them to a Big 12 title for the future. I still don't see that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've been saying, he couldn't get Louisville to where they were going or where they needed to go. I didn't think same would be happening for Cincinnati with Scott Satterfield, but we'll wait and see what happens. Dot P says they beat a good Arizona State team a couple weeks ago. They're better this year. Agreed.
Yes. And this is at Nippert Stadium, too. Their home environment is very underrated. They play tough in front of their home crowd. I'll go Cincinnati 33-27. I think this is a shootout win.
But there is a bright side for West Virginia.
What's that?
They finally have a conference opponent that borders their state for a second straight year.
Yes, there is that. There is that.
Here we go.
But
Oh, there we go. Shamadonna is going to be calling that game. There we go. The Georgia Ole Miss game on ABC and ESPN Plus.
Jackson, for you, before you go, just to save you some voice, Jackson, I'll do it for you. Touchdown, Georgia! There you go. One of Jackson's favorite impressions.
Yep. Oh man, he always whips out the puberty voice when something exciting happens. That's what I love about Shamadonna. I mean, dude is a legend, especially when you look back at some of his MLB calls, college football calls, and there's even some college basketball calls. But I mean, I can go on that all day. But you didn't hear about Georgia Ole Miss to hear about Shamadonna. You're here for Georgia Ole Miss. The Ole Miss Rebels, the thing about them is they can't win the big game in the regular season. They are like the Penn State of the SEC. Thank God they don't have Alabama. But unfortunately, there's a price to be paid for that. They have to have Georgia.
Here's the thing, Jackson. In many other years, I would have agreed with you. But here's one problem. Georgia's weaker this year. Georgia's at their weakest I think we've seen them in quite a while. This is a game, if Ole Miss doesn't win it now, I don't think they ever will. Would you agree with that?
Agreed. I mean, I can honestly agree with that.
Like, I've had some people tell me if Ole Miss can't win now against Georgia, they're never going to. This is it. This is the year. You don't win it now, you're never going to beat the big boys on the block. Because Georgia's at their weakest. Carson Beck is throwing picks left and right like they're hoagie subs. Their defense is not as elite as it's been in years past. And here's the thing, though. I will acknowledge, Jackson, Lane Kiffin in big games tends to blow it. I'll agree with you on that. And a lot of people have lost hope on Georgia, right? There's a lot of people saying Ole Miss is going to win because Georgia is not Georgia. But see, here's the thing. What is Kirby Smart, Jackson? He always shows up for the big ones. Like against Texas, what did he do? His team came ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson, I've even seen some people pick this as an upset because it's in Oxford. I'm with you, Jackson. I can't trust Ole Miss. Even when Georgia's at their weakest, I still can't trust them.
No.
Because if they still had Quinshon Judkins, I'd be compelled to pick them. But I honestly believe, Jackson, that Ole Miss is the Penn State of the Big Ten, like you said. And Jackson, I'm going Georgia. I'm going Dogs. To get the win in Oxford. I think it'll be an ugly win, though. 24-21 Dogs.
There we go. I got the Bulldogs winning this one 35-24 against Ole Miss. So that's
we're both picking Georgia.
Yep.
Jackson, if Georgia wins, we're gonna come on here Saturday night and just be like, "What's new?"
Yep. Just be like, what else is new?
But
yeah.
But Jackson, you want to know? Ole Miss has had 2 starters on the O that are out. Yeah. But Jackson, you want to know what might not be a fluke? Are the Indiana Hoosiers for real? Is Indiana the future of the Big Ten? Is Indiana the team to beat? Well, Oregon might have something to say about that. But, Jackson, the more important question here is Michigan going to miss a bowl game?
No. Because guess who's on their schedule afterwards? Northwestern.
Jackson, that's not a gimme game either. I can't trust Michigan as far as I can throw them right now.
Please don't tell me Michigan's going to go 5-7. Oh, crap. They are crap. Nah, they're not.
Jackson, if they lose to Northwestern, it's over. The Michigan fan base is going to burn everything down. They're going to be like, we need to clean out sale quick. Sharon, you're fired. Wink Martindale, you're fired. Every position coach, get out. And we're selling the team to Las Vegas. We'll be the Las Vegas Wolverines.
There you go. Oh, man.
But I will say, though, Jackson, is this trap game for Indiana? Is this the first game where Kurt Cignetti and his Hoosiers will overlook an opponent, or will they take Michigan serious?
They're going to take Michigan serious.
Because the reason why I asked that, Jackson, is because guess who they got next on their schedule? The big bad Buckeyes of Ohio State. Is this a potential look ahead?
Yeah, we know a guy that was like talking about how Ohio State's going to put Indiana in their place, which honestly, we're going to wait and see about that. Oh, God.
Yeah. Now, Jackson, what's the status of Will Johnson? Their All-American corner. Is he expected to play, or is he going to be out? Because if he plays, I feel like that could be some problems. Because Mason Graham, that defensive line, I feel like their pass rush could give Indiana some problems.
Not much of an update yet. Let me go check. Well,
because that's the big key. If he plays, that's a big time difference maker. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he was out versus Oregon. Question is, does that mean is he out against Indiana? That doesn't look like that's not a yes, but it's not a no either.
So it sounds like it's a game time decision. And Doc P says also, how healthy is Rourke? I believe he's doing okay, Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Because Doc P was wanting to know how healthy Rourke is. Has there been any updates? Has he re-injured his hand injury at all, or is he looking good?
He's looking good.
Okay. Well, you can re-injure those. Those are one of those injuries you can re-injure them real easy.
Oh yeah.
This game's in Bloomington. It's on CBS for the world to see. I'll let you pick first, Jackson.
I'm going to go with Indiana in a 31-14 victory.
Not so fast, my friend. Give me the Michigan Wolverines to shock the Hoosiers and spoil the Hoosier Cinderella season. Give me Michigan 24-22. And I feel like Michigan's defense, their front line, their front seven with NFL talent on it, will take advantage of Indiana's O-line, and their defense will make some key plays to win this football game. Give me Michigan 24-22.
Well, this game is definitely a happy one, unlike this Nets one.
Oh, gosh. Jackson, it's like your ex-girlfriend and your new girlfriend playing one another. Like Jackson, your ex-girlfriend in Kansas, they're doing terrible. But your new girlfriend, she just cheated on you.
But honestly, I did have both these teams as surprise teams for 2024 on the top 10 surprise teams list.
Jackson,
Unfortunately, I was dead wrong
unfortunately,
about Kansas, but Iowa State's making me look good. So there's a bright side to that.
yes. Jackson, was it only a matter of time for Iowa State showed their true colors?
Yeah. A little bit.
I mean, here's the thing, Jackson. This is in Lawrence, right? Or is this in Arrowhead? Are they still playing in Arrowhead?
They're playing in Arrowhead this season. They're not playing in Lawrence this season. Their stadium situation has to get fixed.
Yeah. So there won't be much of a home field advantage. If Jayden Daniels and that offense plays like they did against Kansas State, they've got a shot. But Iowa State's still playing for the Big 12 title. They're still playing for playoff hopes. And Doc P says the Big 12 is wacky this year. Anyone can win it. Agreed.
Yeah.
Like this, the Big 12 is anybody's to win. I'll go Iowa State 34-24.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Iowa State in a 28-24 victory.
I got you. Okay. Well, maybe this next game, Jackson. Ooh, Clemson at Virginia Tech. Yes, sir. Jackson, I know this is mandatory watching television for you.
Yep.
Let me ask you this, Jackson. Can Brent Pry spoil Clemson's season even more?
I don't. If it was on Thursday night, yes. But because it's not, no.
I got you. So here's the thing, Jackson. Let me ask you this. Clemson, coming off that loss, a terrible loss, how do you think they'll bounce back? Not whether they win or lose, but how do you think they'll bounce back? Do you think Dabo got the message that it's time to start playing more serious?
Oh, yeah, and they need to add to the transfer. They need to go look in the transfer portal.
That too, but when I'll be honest with you, Jackson, what is up with Clemson's lack of urgency when they get down?
It's not good. It is not good.
And here's the thing too, Jackson. Has Virginia Tech how many wins does Virginia Tech need to clinch bowl eligibility?
Oh, Kansas let's see, Virginia Tech, they need one more win, which of course Virginia's on their schedule, and they got Duke the week before rivalry week, but they'll beat Virginia, no doubt about it.
Doc P says Sandman only comes out at night. Clemson wins. Yeah, if this was a night game, I would consider picking Virginia Tech. It's going to be a rocking environment, but I feel like Clemson got a wake-up call. They got their butts kicked, prime time in the Valley, first time in 11 years. I feel like that was a wake-up call. And their season now depends on it. I think this will be close, but I'm going to go Clemson 27-24 in a tight battle. What about you, Jackson? Who do you got taking the dub?
I think Clemson is gonna win 28-17. And
Never thought Louisville would do. Doc P says never thought Louisville would do that, but they did it last week. Yep, we're the first team in 11 years to go in the Valley at night and beat Clemson under Dabo Swinney.
Oh yeah,
and we were once the team that could not beat them in our 10-year history that we've been in the conference.
booyah!
So I'm pretty proud of that. It's a great time to be a Cardinal. And Jackson, I owe you all the credit for telling me everything will be okay with Jeff Brom. I had my doubts, but you were like, "Good buddy, Jeff Brom's going to lead you to good things. Just be patient. It's coming." And boy, were you right.
And it's going to be a lot better than Scott Satterfield. That I could promise you.
This is an interesting game on the ACC network. Duke at NC State in Raleigh. Jackson, what's happened to NC State this year? What they were hyped up in a lot of people's eyes to be one of the favorites. What happened?
NC State's had injuries. That's what happened.
I get it, but does that really make them that bad of a football team? Are they that? Do they not have that much depth?
Seems like it.
And Doc P says Brom is a great coach. He killed my Hawks when at Purdue, and Rough Rider Return says that was impressive. It was a statement because the committee put us in, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, and we're the only 3-loss team in history to get in the first initial ranking with 3 losses. So apparently we did enough that the committee had to give us our props. But who are you picking for Duke NC State, Jackson?
I'm gonna go with Duke in a 28-21 victory over NC State.
I'll go NC State at home in front of the Pack. I'll go NC State 28-24. The Wolf Pack come out. Arroo! And they get the dub. Ah, yes. Here we go. Yes. All right, Jackson, hush up. The real team's here now. Colorado at Texas Tech. Yes. What better way to spend your Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern than with Colorado, Texas Tech? With Coach Deion Sanders. I mean, my goodness. There's not a better way to spend your Saturday. Ain't that right, Jackson?
Yep.
Jackson, but I do have to say though, I do love me some Deion Sanders, as we all know. I'm a big Deion Sanders guy. I'm rooting for him. But Jackson, what did I tell you? Bet the over with the Buffs and Red Raiders. Probably. This is going to be like a 49-52 shootout type game. You're right, Doc P. But Jackson, what did I tell you about Texas Tech?
You told me they were going to upset Iowa State.
I told you they're the Jekyll and Hyde of the Big 12. And I'm sorry, Gus Malzahn, but you've lost your privilege this year. That belongs to Joey McGuire.
Yep.
Yes, Joey McGuire. I keep wanting to call him Jerry, guys. Want to make sure I had that right. But Texas Tech, they're one of the most up and down teams I think you'll meet all year in the Big 12. I mean, 1 minute they're giving up 59 points to Baylor, and then they go into Ames, Iowa, and upset what many people believe to be the favorite in the Big 12 in Iowa State. But then they lose a fumble against TCU, Texas Tech, like I told Jackson, I told him, I'm like, they're that team you don't know what you're getting week to week. And this is going to be in Lubbock, too. This isn't an environment to be messed with. In Colorado, they've been playing really, really impressive. And Colorado still got a chance, have got a chance to make the Big 12 title game. Got a chance with all the craziness that happened this past weekend. Is Texas Tech going to have a hangover? That's the question. What do you think, Jackson? Does Texas Tech have a potential hangover this week?
No. I think Colorado's gonna win this one.
How many points? What's your score prediction?
Colorado's gonna win this one 45-34 against Texas Tech.
This game, I flipped back and forth on because it's in Lubbock, and I do love me some Colorado. And Travis Hunter, he's a bad boy. And Shedeur, the O-line's still a little spotty. It's in Lubbock. If this was a night game, I would consider picking Texas Tech. But you know what? I still might pick Texas Tech. I might. You know what? Give me Colorado on the road. I think too much Travis Hunter. Tech has a hangover after a top 10 win. Give me Colorado 40-36.
There we go. Well, JD Piquel from On3 said that this game, South Carolina Vanderbilt, should most definitely be a top 25 game. What do you think, Austin?
This is actually a pretty fun game. And who would have ever thought, Jackson, that Vanderbilt, South Carolina could have been like, Jackson, if I would have told you in the offseason Vanderbilt, South Carolina could be a possible top 25 matchup, what would you have told me?
I would have said you were on something that you shouldn't be taking.
Probably. And you would probably be like, Austin, do I need to call you a doctor? Like, you'd be like, listen, Austin, I know you love you some Louisville and you do love you some Colorado, but do I need to call a doctor? Do you have something going on up there that you're not telling me? But that's what this has become. Because Jackson, what do you always tell me about South Carolina and Shane Beamer?
That they gotta have stability, man. Like it's like you stick with Shane Beamer, you're gonna have a beautiful era in Columbia, South Carolina.
Exactly. And here's the thing too, Jackson. The thing too is South Carolina is not that bad of a football team. They kept it close with LSU. They almost beat Alabama. They dominated Texas A&M. Don't let the scoreboard fool you guys. Like, I know sometimes we could look at the scoreboard and say, oh, it wasn't that bad. South Carolina, they were in control of that game from start to finish. That game never looked in doubt. It was 14-0 off the get-go, and it made a little push there, and then South Carolina took over from there and that's the thing too. And I know a lot of people will say maybe that's more of, Texas A&M showing their true colors. I know Jackson, which I'll save this for him to tell you, but Jackson, what do you always tell me Shane Beamer's so good at?
Special teams.
Besides that, what else have you told me constantly this year?
Man. It's been a lot of things. But
how Shane Beamer is a good football head coach. How you
Mhm.
told me you may not
Just like his
win an
father.
SEC title with him. Yes, you may not win an SEC title with him, but he will be a guy that'll get you to bowl games every year. That's what you've been preaching to me.
Mhm. That's right.
And Doc P says the refs took the game away from South Carolina versus LSU. Well, what do you think about that, Jackson? Do you agree with him on that?
Yes, but at the same time, South Carolina shouldn't have put themselves in a position like that against LSU.
So Carr is like Iowa. So
Mm.
South Carolina is like Iowa. That's an interesting comparison. I never heard South Carolina Iowa compared, but Jackson, talk about Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia. I'm gonna save this part for you because there's a special head coach that has a special place in your heart that you love to talk about. Take it away.
Well, even though he's not the head coach at Vanderbilt, he's the offensive consultant analyst at Vanderbilt, and he was the head coach at New Mexico State last year, Jerry Kill. And I can tell you right now, he's made some magic in a lot of players' lives, including Diego Pavia's life. And, Pavia's made some magic this year, as we've seen at Vandy. And honestly, he's, if anybody's the reason why he even went to Vandy, Jerry Kill is the reason. I mean, I know everybody's talking about, yay, Clark Lee's doing a fantastic job, which, I mean, Clark Lee has done a pretty good job, but I mean, Jerry Kill had a little bit to do with it as well.
Mm-hmm. And Doc P says, not bad. Gets to bowl games, pulls an upset every once in a while. Okay, I got you. Now I understand where you're going with that. I got your vision. But Jackson, does Vanderbilt keep the momentum going and get to 7 wins? Like they've already exceeded expectations by winning more than 4 games. But do they really get to exceeding expectations, or does South Carolina have a hangover?
I feel like Vanderbilt gets one. It's gonna be
Well,
Vanderbilt winning 28-24 in this one.
I'm gonna go. I'm like you. I think Vandy gets one. I think South Carolina. I think the up and down season continues. I'm gonna go Vandy 23 21 Vandy.
Who'd have thought this would be a Big Ten conference game? Oh man.
Yeah. Okay? So here's the thing, Jackson. We don't have to waste much time on this. Does Maryland cover?
No. No, just
Unless you're gonna
barely.
go upset.
Oregon wins 41-13.
I'll go Oregon 38-17. Does Mississippi State cover?
No, Tennessee is gonna win 38-10. Central Florida, Arizona State,
44.
a better game.
44. Oh, wait, you gonna let me get my prediction for you, Jackson? How rude of you, young man.
Sorry.
How rude of you. Jackson, you're fired. You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Golly. You see what our guys have to put up with him all the time? Him and his rudeness. I'm Mr. Alabama. I do what I want. Like Mr. Rude. Like, I love you, Jackson, but good gosh, you're
So
fired.
what was 34 to what?
I'll go 34-10. Okay, now introduce your game. Golly,
Sorry,
I'm gonna cut your
sorry,
pay grade.
my brain is going on overdrive tonight.
I'm gonna cut your salary. Maybe, yeah. We'll stop that, young man.
Oh man,
Better yet, I'll call your boss. We'll get this solved.
Well, then we
But
got
yeah,
Central Florida going up against Arizona State on ESPN2. That's gonna be a good one. You want to talk about impressive teams in the Big 12? Arizona State, a good one. They have been super duper impressive.
yes. And then running back Cam Skipboat or Scatboat. I still don't know how to say his name. I apologize if we got any Sun Devil fans. Scatboat. Like I said, I apologize to all of our Sun Devil fans that watch us. We love you. I'm not trying to mispronounce his name by no stretch. He's got one of them weird ones. But Jackson, who would have thought Arizona State would be 6-2 right now after the disastrous program that they had become after the Jaden Daniel years? Like, Jackson, if I would have told you Arizona State's going to be 6-2 in the thick of the Big 12 race, what would you have told me?
I'd have thought y'all were nuts if you thought that Arizona State was going to be playing for a Big 12 title or having any shot of it.
Oh, you would have called me crazy even if I predicted him to go to a bowl game.
Yep.
But, Jackson, I got to say this, Kenny Dillingham, his alma mater, he comes back home, and he rebuilt this thing in year 2. Like, a lot of people are not giving him love, but we talk about Coach of the Year and all that. Jackson, his name should be thrown in that conversation. Like, big time. Like, I know everyone's saying it's either Signetti or maybe Cristobal. I would say give a little love to Kenny Dillingham for what he's done. Like, this is big time. But as for UCF, though, Jackson, all I got to say is this. Does Gus Malzahn, does he survive another year if they don't make a bowl game?
Oh, he's getting a vote of confidence for 2025, regardless of the result for this year.
And Doc P says USC has played better since they switched quarterbacks. They have, but they're not producing wins. That I will say. I've watched a couple of their games. They have played somewhat better, but they're still not producing wins. And in this league, you got to produce wins. This is in the desert with Gus Malzahn. You know what? Give me Arizona State. Have a big day. 35-21 Sun Devils.
Yep.
What's your prediction, Jackson?
I'm going to go Arizona State 35, Central Florida 31.
Oh, you got more of a shootout. Here's a game, Jackson. Oklahoma State TCU. Does Mike Gundy save his job with the win Saturday?
No.
TCU coming off a heartbreaker. This is a game of bad and mid. I'll let you pick first on this one, Jackson. Who you going with?
I'm going to go TCU in a 31-28 victory.
Yeah, I'll go TCU at home 45-35 in a high-scoring game.
35-35?
No, 45-35.
Oh, 45-35. Man, I need my hearing checked or something.
But Jackson, maybe this next game, Oklahoma and Missouri.
Well, we'll get to Oklahoma, Missouri, but
talk about this game, Jackson. Are you trying to kill me here? Who wants to talk about this one? Oh my gosh,
Notre
Jackson.
Dame in the top
You're
10. The only thing really talk
oh my
about
god.
is how many points Notre Dame going to win by.
Yeah, like Jackson, I understand. Like I get it. It's Notre Dame, but who wants to talk about Florida State? They're a dung heap. I mean, they're an embarrassment to college football. I mean, Jackson, we could throw you in at quarterback for Florida State, and they would win more than one game, for crying out loud.
Yep.
And why is this game on NBC? Why? What have we done to deserve this? Why do we deserve to sit and have to watch Notre Dame, Florida State on NBC? Why? I'm sorry, but this ticks me off. This is worse than the time Jackson let the rabbit out. Oh my gosh.
Notre Dame will win
Oh
this
my.
one against Florida State 45-14.
What's the spread?
Notre Dame minus 26.5.
Dang. NBC, next time, don't schedule these things out ahead. Please and thank you, your viewers here. Me and Jackson would really appreciate it because now we have to talk about that dumb game. My apologies, not dumb. Incompetent game. That's not the right word. Got me ticked off, Jackson. Thanks a lot.
Well, this game will make you happier. Alabama, LSU.
Well, I got to give my prediction. I'll go Notre Dame 37-13. Here we go. Alabama at LSU, like you said. Take it away, Jackson. This is your game.
Oh, man, this is going to be a huge one. I mean, this is basically a playoff eliminator. Because I talked about it with Daily Joy and Tyler Netuno on LSU Week on Alabama with the Voice of College Football. And we talked about how that's an elimination game. And it's the same thing with and I did same thing with Carter Bryant. I talked about that game being, a bit of a we talked about being an elimination game. That's going to be a huge game for all of college football. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm not really liking where LSU's defense is. It's a complete and total disaster. 86 in passing defense, 48th in the running game, tied 40th in the red zone, 79th in third down defense, and 54th in scoring defense. Basically, it's not good for LSU. They're good enough, but good enough doesn't get it done.
Yeah, this Jackson. Oh, and you forgot to mention this, Jackson, but this is where College Game Day will be going.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson, what do I always tell you, good buddy, about
They always go there. They always go to Alabama, LSU.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir. And Jackson, you want to know something else? Nick Saban, this will be the first time in this rivalry's history in a long time that Coach Saban's not on either side. How do you think he'll handle that? Do you think he'll play favorites come Saturday?
He'll be all right.
You think he might play favorites?
If it's us, yes.
Yeah, that is true. I will say this, Doc P says, tough place to play at night. Yes. That's one thing that LSU does have going for them is this is a night game. Because if this was a daytime game, I would lean Alabama. But the fact that this is at night, and Jackson, we all remember Alabama historically has struggled with LSU at night. When's the last time y'all beat them in a night game in their stadium?
2020.
Well, do we really count that, Jackson? Does that really count?
Yes. You
A
have to.
true. When have you, Jackson? When's the last time you beat them in a true road game at night when there's been people there? Let me rephrase it.
29-0.
So it's been okay. So it's been a minute then. I was about to say 2020. That, as we say, that had some asterisks to it. Unfortunately, good buddy. I'm sorry, but LSU with nobody in the stands, there's not really anything powerful about it. But now, is Alabama going to break that curse Saturday?
Yes.
Jalen Milroe is going to be the X factors. Well, hold on, good buddy. Hold on. I got to break it down for you. Jalen Milroe is going to be the key because if he's the Jalen Milroe that we saw against Georgia, LSU's in for a long night. But why do I get a feeling? Why do I get a sneaky feeling? Brian Kelly back against the wall, big time situation at night, big time game. The doubters are starting to come back out again about him. Why do I get the feeling they're going to win this game like they did 2 years ago? I get that eerily feeling. You know what, Jackson? I know what it is. It's because he's been hearing you dogging him the past couple of weeks, and he's like, and Doc P says Brian Kelly loses many big games. He does, but Jackson, something tells me there's going to be magic in the air Saturday. I'll let you pick first.
Well, whether Brian Kelly can win the big game in the regular season or not, he can win the big ones in the regular season. He just can't win them in the postseason.
If we're going to start this again, Jackson, I know Doc P says I'll admit he's come up short in a couple big games. I'll admit, but he's not as bad as Jackson makes him seem. And you know what, Jackson? I am so confident that he's going to win Saturday. I'll even bet it, Jackson. I will even bet it, Jackson. If LSU doesn't win Saturday, I'll wear an Alabama jersey on a live stream if LSU doesn't win Saturday.
You got one?
I'll order one just for that. That's how confident I am LSU's going to win this game.
Okay.
I'll make sure I'll wear an Alabama jersey for the whole world if LSU doesn't win Saturday. Give me LSU, Jackson. Brian Kelly's going to do it again. Give me LSU 31-28, and they win it on a walk-off field goal.
I think Alabama's going to win 24-21, but remember, I said Brian Kelly can win regular season big games. I said he can't win the big games in the postseason.
Oh, we're not going to start this again. We'll leave that for another time. We'll leave that for another time.
We're going to be waiting for when bowl games come around.
Oh, who knows? LSU might be in the playoffs. You never know. You never know.
They'll lose their first game, but there's more important stuff than Brian Kelly's disastrous downfalls in the playoffs. And that's Oklahoma, Missouri on SEC Network. Talk about overrated teams, and that's Missouri.
He said, don't forget the Sooners took down Mighty Maine.
Oh,
Jackson, they had me scared there for a minute. Jackson, they had me scared for a second. Mighty Maine, they might beat Alabama if they played them in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to run up against them. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Missouri, Jackson, I agree with you. Talk about teams that got overhyped. They lost a lot from last year's team. and it shows. Brady Cook, Luther Burden, they have a special quarterback wide receiver connection, one of the best in all of college football. But when they lose Cody Strader at running back, it really shows. The defense is not as strong. And Brady Cook, has been dealing with some injuries. This could quite possibly be his last game at Missouri. Do they have one more home game after this, Jackson? Or is this it?
Let's check and see. I think this may be the last home game for the season for Missouri, but let's check anyway. No, Arkansas is their
So they
last
got
home
one.
game of the year.
Okay, so they've got one more coming. Yeah, because Brady Cook and Missouri, they play better at home. But Oklahoma, Jackson, they're just a disaster across the board. No offense to our Boomer Sooners out there, but they are. And then Seth Luttrell being the fall guy, like you said, Jackson, was just all types of wrong.
Nature of the business, kid. That's just how it is.
Who are you picking in this game, Jackson? I'll let you go first.
Mark Rogers kind of made it perfect for me. He was talking about Oklahoma's defense is better. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm going to go Oklahoma in an upset. Well, no, it's not an upset because they're a 3-point favorite. That's right. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma 28-24 over Missouri.
I'm going to go Missouri 28. No, I'll go Missouri 27-20.
And then we got the Penn State Nittany Lions going against the Washington Huskies on the Peacock app. Can Penn State in the playoffs? Looks like it.
Jackson, why is this the Peacock game? Why is this not the NBC game? Why can't Notre Dame go play Florida State on the Peacock? What are you all doing?
Bear question. Why is Minnesota Rutgers the NBC game and not the Peacock game?
That too. This is disgusting. What is wrong with you, NBC?
They're nothing but crap. That's their name tagline is nothing but crap.
Nothing but crap. Yeah, this is interesting, Jackson, because Penn State's a hefty favorite. Is this going to be a whiteout game too?
Yeah.
This is their whiteout game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's just pitiful. No offense, Washington, but that's just pitiful. Like, seriously. Like, don't get me wrong, Washington's a competent team, but NBC, you really dropped the ball with this one. Give me Penn State. I think they'll have a bit of a letdown. Give me Penn State 24-17. I don't think they'll cover. What about you, Jackson?
Pittsburgh, Virginia.
No, Penn State, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson.
Penn
Get
State.
your head out your butt, young man. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Penn State's going to smack Washington 38-17.
Well, Jackson, just for our Nevada people, Neil Campbell of the Voice of College Football, will Boise cover or does Nevada cover? Who's going to cover this game?
No, Boise State's going to win this one 48-17.
I'll go 38. I'll go 38-3 Boise. Virginia Pitt on the ACC network. Jackson, does Pitt keeps their dream alive a little longer,
Yeah.
or does Virginia go in, and steal the win, where dreams go to die? I'll let you pick first.
Oh, Pitt's gonna win this one 31-14.
I got Pitt in a rugged 28-23 win.
Booyah. And finally, we got the return of the holy war between BYU and Utah on Big 12 After Dark. It's a shame it's not on
There you go.
Rivalry Week. I hate that's not on there, but oh well. They don't ask us.
Jackson.
They will eventually, though.
Well, Jackson, do your thing on this one, good buddy. Make your analyst to do your history notes here. I'll leave you to it. Let you have your moment because you love this rivalry.
We've been really thinking about where BYU is going, because we talk about Iowa State, just like having close games each week here and there. BYU's had a few of them as well. Little did we know on September 6th of 2024 that we would be seeing a bad moon rising with BYU and, SMU doing very well as well. But still, though, BYU going unbeaten. Then we see on Big 12 After Dark where they make some magic against Kansas State. That was huge. Unfortunately, Utah has just been straddled by injuries. It has just been a cluster for the Utah Utes. Don't know what's been up with them, but I hope they get that figured out. And the question is, what's going to happen with Kyle Whittingham? We're not saying Whittingham's getting fired. That's never going to happen. It would have to be something really bad off the field for that to happen. But do we see Whittingham retiring after this season? Does he return for 2025? I think that's a question for 2-3 weeks from now. But other than that, that's it for Utah. But it's great to see BYU Utah back as a conference game for the first time since 2010, the last year of the Mount West Conference era for the two teams. And they've had some memorable games in non-conference play from 2011 to 2021. Because we saw like 2012, it was never gonna end. Flag, missed field goal, flag, missed field goal, flag. And it was like BYU just never could win it until 2021. They finally got it done against the Utah Utes.
Yeah. So this game's interesting for a couple reasons because Utah, obviously, like you said, injuries have plagued them. Cam Rising, I believe Cam Rising, they're looking into another medical red shirt. Some people said he's going to retire. We don't know yet. But like you said, Jackson, Kyle Whittingham, he's not a coach that they're going to fire. He's going to be the coach that steps down because he knows the program is going to the crapper. He'll step down before he does anything else. And he's already announced his successor in Morgan Scalley, the defensive coordinator. So it's one of them things. There's already that out there, so it could be on the horizon sooner than we think, especially the disastrous year they're having. But BYU, Jackson, they go undefeated. They're in the playoffs, no questions asked. So we saw Iowa State go down. Is this the upset game we're waiting on for BYU? Or are they legit?
I want to see BYU win this one. I just feel like upset city is coming in Big 12 After Dark.
So what's your prediction?
Utah is going to win this one 27-24. And the storm's going to be there's going to be a field storm.
Jackson, do great minds think alike or what? Utah ruins BYU season in the return of the Holy War, 17-10. Utah wins, and the Holy War is reignited.
Oh yeah,
but Jackson,
I want to see. I want to see. Yeah, because I mean, it's like I want to see BYU get it done, but I'm just not seeing it. It's just, their luck will run out, especially against Utah.
Mm-hmm. But Jackson, you want to know something? You want to know something, Jackson, that's not lucky? You want to know something that is meant to be, that is going to happen, and it happens every Monday night, and it will continue to be that way as long as you have air breathing through your lungs, and that is Alabama at the voice of college football, Alabama Live. No matter who's on the schedule, you'll bring content. There will be content for years and years to come. That is what will be coming around. And Jackson, if people want to see this content, there's only one place to find it, and that's Alabama at the voice of college football. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe. What are you doing? Like, put whatever you're doing, stop it right now and go hit that subscribe button ASAP. Because as of tonight, if you hit subscribe, Jackson will buy you a brand new car. He even told me himself. He'll buy you a brand new car, and he'll buy you a puppy, maybe a kitten. So you better go hit that subscribe button so we could give you these great prizes. And plus, it helps Mark Rogers at the voice of college football. And you know something, Jackson? We have good arguments all the time because we're good friends. But Jackson, there's one argument that is disputed, and Mark Rogers makes sure that it is undisputed by the time he's done with it, because he's got a brand new book out. And I know you got your copy. My copy's on the way in the mail. And that is the Disputed National Championships. Take it away, Jackson.
There we go.
This is your time.
It's the historical reset of the 1990s and all of college football. And I'll tell you right now, it is the go-to book for the college football fan in your life. In this book, you'll learn what happened in the 90s, how the decade changed, why the championship results should be questioned, how to correctly think through the scenario to appreciate the accomplishments of teams that were not recognized as champions. This book provides an in-depth analysis of the changes, controversies, outcomes that defined a decade of college football. Grab your copy now.
Exactly.
There you go.
Good, buddy. Exactly.
This is the book to go and get this holiday season, this Christmas season.
Yes, exactly. It's getting cold outside. And when it's cold outside, you really don't want to do nothing. What better way to curl up on your couch with your nice blanket of your favorite team, whether it's Alabama, Louisville, New Mexico State, Vanderbilt, get you a nice blanket and cuddle up and read some Mark Rogers as he takes you through the Disputed National Championships. And, if you get bored of reading, or you don't have the attention span, that's okay too. Because Jackson will have you covered for Alabama, the voice of college football. And you can snuggle up and watch YouTube and watch Jackson do his thing. Go ahead, Jackson.
Yep. Every Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Johnny Burtz and I give you our take on the latest news and notes on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus, on Thursday nights, especially this Thursday night, Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports and I host the Alabama Call-In Show, where we take your calls on your takes on the Alabama Crimson Tide. We don't care if you're an Alabama fan, Auburn, LSU, Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, or Louisville, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan. We don't care. We'll take anybody's calls. We just want to hear your take on the Alabama College show on Alabama with the Voice of College Football every Thursday night, where you are the star of the show as the caller, especially on the 5th edition this Thursday, later tomorrow night.
Jackson, that's all great stuff. But you know something, Jackson? It's time to take what is yours, good buddy. I know you love Promote the Voice of College Football. It's a great channel. But Jackson, what about your channel? What about if people just want to watch you? Where can they find you? That's the more important question we should be asking.
Well, they can find me on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube, where I've got like fun adventures with Austin, every week for the Pits Analysis Show and the Final Whistle on Saturday nights after the conclusion of what's going on all college football for the week. And not only that, but I've got my next episode of the Jacksonian with Carter Bryant, the host of Power Hour LSU, SEC, and NFL, as we go over quite a lot about the Saints, the LSU Tigers, Billy Napier and Sam Pittman, and much, much more. We even talk about the impact that Derek Jeter had on the MLB and how it's not the same without him. And I'm going to tell you something. It's a wild ride, especially the show will release at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be a fun one. And Dot P, thank you for becoming my newest subscriber. I appreciate so much. And I'll tell you right now, it's deeply appreciated. The channel is now 115 subs away from that magic number 500. I need a lot of help in getting to 500 subs as much as possible. And you can also check me out on X at JacksonVOCFB, where I give my updates on not only who's going on the Jacksonian, but also give my updates on what's going on with Alabama with the Voice of College Football. You can also see my updates on Jackson Johnson 543908 on Instagram and Threads, where I give my updates on those sites as well. And there's LSU week, where Johnny Burtz and I had Daily Joy from Speakeasy Sports and Tyler Natuno from College Sports Wire joining us for the Alabama LSU preview. And I can tell you, it's a fun one. Austin, what have you got going on your adventures this week?
So you can find me at Sports Talk with Austin 2002. And you can find me on X at Austin W1980 2639, where you'll see my great adventures with this man right here, Jackson, Wednesdays and Saturdays throughout the college football season. And like I said, all year long, me and Jackson, we will be here until we have a national championship winner. Meaning, me and Jackson, we won't stop delivering new content until one team is crowned. So that means you'll be seeing a lot more of us. You think, once the regular season's over, no more, so sad. Nope. You're going to get more of us in the playoffs, especially in the playoffs and bowl games. We're going to be delivering content to you throughout. And even when we're done with that, you'll still be seeing more of us. Because, there's always top 25s that releases, year-end stuff. Me and Jackson, we're a great tag team, and we're gonna be doing this for quite some time. So, folks, get used to it. Me and Jackson, the tag team of the college football world, we're here to give some elbows and some pile drivers when we need to. And Jackson will occasionally give the Crimson Tide rammer jammer if he needs to.
There you go.
But that's where you can find me. And I just need y'all to do me one more big favor before we go. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Click on the notification bells for both of us. That way you never miss a video when either of us drop it. Whether it's me, Jackson. That way you're always informed of what we're up to, what we're doing, especially if you're enjoying what we're doing. And you never miss another great video. But Jackson, it's win or go home time now. As the old saying goes, it's getting close to the end. We got a lot of win or go home games this week.
Yes, we do, and it's gonna be a wild one. And with that being said,
And only the best will survive, as they say.
best of the best. And with that being said,
Mm-hmm.
we wish you all a good night. Sleep well and stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out. And if it's not cold out there yet, well, it's getting cold out there. Roll Tide, everybody.
Yes. Go Cards.